right. Now we got this going. We got Macy in the studio today, and I'm so excited. Let me tell you, she has a lot of patience. A couple of things been going on. First of all, I am like 20 minutes behind schedule. Sorry, Mark. Because I've been having technical difficulties all day. Someone tried to hack my Facebook. I couldn't get in, but I'm in now, so that's what counts. So we're going to talk with her about what she's doing, her influence in the community, and what a positive role model she is for the young generation today.
Thank you.
And she has all these business smarts too. We're going to talk about that too, so I'm excited about that, okay?
Thank you so much for
It's the
having me. Oh my
truth.
gosh.
You excited?
I'm so excited. I'm
Okay.
not usually on this side
I know, so it's going
of
to be
the interview,
fun.
so it'll be fun.
It's going to be fun. Look how many questions I have.
She has a lot. She has 5. It's the whole notebook. That's what it is. It's
Yeah.
the whole notepad.
Y'all want to see? Look. There's going to be a lot of questions. All right. You ready, Mark?
You are now tuned in to Today with Pastor Jay on WNZF News Radio, where we discuss inspiring and informative news. And now here's your host, Pastor Jerlyn Denny.
Good morning. Good morning. Wake up. Good morning. What a wonderful, beautiful, and great day it is to be alive. And I have a phenomenal guest on the show. I don't even want to call her a young lady because she's I don't want to call her a woman either. She's a unicorn. I'm gonna call her a unicorn. That's the best way. She's a unicorn, and I call her that because she stands out. You don't find a lot of people like Macy Baxi. So I want to thank you so very much for being a guest on my show today.
Well, thank you so much for having me. I'm so completely honored. I'm so excited. This will be fun.
Well, I'm going to just go right out the gate and tell you, she comes in today and she brings me flowers. So for those of you who are watching by way of social media, I've got a dozen of roses. She comes in. Who does that? Macy, she does it. She do things like this. And I'm going to tell you, I know where you got it from, Macy. Your parents.
Yeah.
Your dad is amazing. Let's talk about your upbringing real quick.
Okay.
So how long have you been in Flagler County? And, tell everybody how young you are.
I've been in Flagler County for about 2 years. I moved here when I was 18, so that makes me 20 now. So yeah, I'm still pretty new here, I feel.
You are pretty new here,
Yeah.
but you're doing a lot of stuff.
Thanks.
You've been recognized. I mean, you were honored by She Leads Florida
Yes.
for your faith.
Yeah, that was really awesome. And that's really that's why I was so inspired. I was like, I have to make sure that, yesterday I got the call from you of like, oh, hey, can you come on the radio show? I had a cancellation last minute, and I was like, oh my gosh, I have to make sure I do enough because you did an amazing job with the event, and you made so many women feel so special. And I was like, I need to make sure that she feels special, she feels recognized, because I mean, you deserve it was an amazing event. I don't know if anyone's seen the pictures, but it was
an amazing
so
event.
incredible.
How did you feel being among all these great women? I mean, doctors and attorneys and judges and authors.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah. It was an amazing group.
Life coaches.
Right.
Business coaches.
It was incredible.
Hey, those who shop at Coach. Or riding Coach. But, it was an incredible event.
Mm-hmm.
And you were one of the youngest women in the entire state of Florida that were recognized.
Yeah. Well, No, it was really incredible. I was talking to another lady, and so we were just talking, and I was asking her what she was being recognized for, and talking, and then she looks down, and everyone's name tags was different. So if you were recognized, your name tag was different than if you were a guest. She's like, wait, are you being recognized too? And I was like, yeah, of course. I'm really excited to be here and talk to you. She's
noticed that?
Yeah. She was like, yeah. She was like, oh wait, I didn't realize. She's like, I thought you were just sitting here. I was like, that's no big deal. She was doing some incredible stuff here in Vanell and stuff, and it was really great to connect with her. And she was telling me her story, and that's really what I really loved listening to people's stories, and that's why I'm doing what I'm doing, is to be able to sit there and learn from people. It's not like I want to go up and I just want to tell people I'm amazing, I'm great.
Well, you are. Listen, people only need to meet you once and know that you're amazing and that you're great.
That's so kind.
And it is true. So you have this podcast.
I do.
And I was your first guest
You were.
on your podcast.
That is true.
And let me tell you, I spoke blessings upon your podcast.
And
And
it
wow,
worked.
we're what, over 100 podcasts later?
Yeah, we're about 130 episodes in, and
Wow.
it's one, I want to say, like, it's been like 5 or so months, so
Hmm.
it's been really, really great.
So what are you doing with this podcast?
That's a great question. So, if anyone doesn't know, it's called Why I Love Flagler County. And it came from this idea. So, to back up just a little bit, I've been podcasting for about 3 years.
Hmm.
And I did like 200 or so episodes with another theme. What would I say to my younger self? And it was a
Ooh.
great, great topic, especially because I was 17 turning 18.
Hmm.
And it was really, really great to learn and get so much advice of what people would say to my age. But when I came to Flagler, I wanted to do something a little different, and I wanted to really get to know this really amazing and, like, I would say honestly, like, tight knit community. Like, everyone really knows each
Hmm.
other, and I didn't want to like come in as a new girl and be like, "Hey guys, I'm 19. You guys don't know me, but you guys should give me all your attention." Like, that doesn't make any sense. So, like, how can I just come first with how to learn about the community and learn the proper steps of how to be integrated into the community? So I started Why I Love Flagler County, and it's just for spotlighting local businesses and also local residents on what
Hmm.
they love about being a part of the community, right? Their story, because one of the questions I ask is, what brought you to Flagler? And everyone has their own really unique story, and I really, really enjoy that. And I don't mean this in a bad way, but not a lot of people like wake up wherever they live and go like, I wanted to one day move to Flagler County. It's
Hmm.
not usually like that, which is totally fine, right? But they always have like, oh, I was driving on 95 and I just felt this pull. Or I just had some friends in the area and I went up and I fell in love with the beach. And it's just so, so fun to hear everyone's stories because they're all so different, but also
Hmm.
similar too, I would say.
So what brought you to Flagler County, and why do you love Flagler
It's
County?
a great
It
question.
is.
Yeah,
You ask
so
people that all the time.
I
So
do. I
what do
do.
you love about Flagler?
Well, so I came to Flagler about 2 years ago. 2 years and a month ago, pretty much. And I was 18, and I had lived in Michigan pretty much all my life. We had snowbirded a little bit to like Tampa and Kissimmee, but we had never really been to Palm Coast of all places. But my grandma, who I had been living with my whole life, she had passed when I was 18. And then my family owned a restaurant up in Michigan, and that closed in 2019. So now those things that were so permanent in our lives were no longer there. And so my dad, he hates the cold. He's from India originally. He got, kind of trapped in Michigan because he met my mom and had all the kids. And so he's
Hmm.
like, well, I want to move to Florida like now. So we just kind of had our criteria together, and a lot of it was my dad likes this side of the coast rather than the west coast of Florida. So my mom just went up city by city, and she came to us and she goes, "What about Palm Coast?" And we're like, "What is that?"
What is a Palm Coast,
What is
right?
Palm
What's
Coast?
this?
And we were like, Palm like Bay or something. She's like, no, 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 no. Like, this is like a little bit north of Port Orange. We had stayed in Port Orange for a few months before, so we knew what Port Orange was, and we're like, okay, we'll check it out. And we came here, and it was one of those. It was definitely one of those like God timing things, because we had put in an offer for a house. I hated the house. I remember I went home and I texted my friends and I was like, "Can you guys pray for me that this house doesn't work? 'Cause
That this house doesn't work
I
out.
don't like
Okay,
it at
now
all."
what I find amazing is that a 19-year old or 19-year young woman has friends that she can text and say, "Guys, pray for me."
Yeah,
How cool. Your faith
yeah.
is the reason why you were honored for She Leaves Florida,
Yes,
because
thank
you
you.
wear it. And
Yeah,
again, it has something to do with your parents. Now, you say
definitely.
your father's Indian and your
Yes,
mother is,
Chinese.
she's Chinese. Now,
Yes,
that's quite the
it
combination.
is. It is. It's a great combination. I'm very happy with it. Not that I get a choice with it,
Yeah.
but I'm happy with it. Yeah, there's a lot of different things, but yeah, I told my friends, I grew up in a very weird like place technically because my dad was a Hindu for most of my life.
Mm-hmm.
So I used to go to the temple a lot with him because they also did Hindi classes there, so he would take me there. But for some reason, like I would alternate like one week going to like the Hindu temple and another week going to church for
Mm-hmm.
like literally whatever reason. My mom wasn't even a huge Christian either when I was a kid. I think my dad just was like, I like the Christian influences. She should go to a church once a week. And then when I was about 7 or 8, I was like, um, we were learning about heaven and we were learning about, what happens after death.
Mm-hmm.
And, obviously it's the kid version too. So it's like they make it sound so nice and obviously it is, but it's like what's appealing to 7-year-old children at the time. And I went to my dad after and I was like, hey, in Hinduism, like, what do you do? Like, what do you guys believe in after death? And he was like, oh, like, we don't go anywhere. We believe in reincarnation. And I was like, what's that? He's like, oh, you die and you keep coming back to life. And I was like, oh, so like, could theoretically I like come back as like a bug? And he was like, maybe. And I was like, no.
It's not for you.
And I just completely, I committed full time to the church and I stopped completely going to the Hindu temple.
Wow.
And like I became very active with volunteering and the theater program inside of our church. And yeah, I would volunteer. I think once a week I would perform for the younger kids. And so I did that a lot. So a lot of my friends that I have when I'm older now were from that part of the church life growing up. So a lot of them were really young.
Wow. That's pretty impressive.
It's a very interesting story. I didn't realize it was so weird until I
It's
grew
an
up, and I was
interesting
like,
story. It is
I was
a
like,
very
all right, no, this is it's very interesting when I hear people's testimonies and they're all amazing. But I'm like, yeah, mine was just I asked my dad, like, is there a life like he could be reincarnated and he like wouldn't be married to my
Right.
mom? And he was like, yeah, maybe. And that's also what I was like. I was so upset by that. I was like,
Yeah,
can't
this
be.
not working.
Can't be.
Can't be. All right, well, we got to take a break. Don't go anywhere, guys. Don't touch that dial. You are listening to Today with Pastor Jay. You didn't know you had such a great story in you, did you? Till now, right?
Yeah.
The radio brings it out. All right. You ready? We'll go back. Welcome back to Today with Pastor Jay. And my highly esteemed guest is Macy Baxi. And, I love how you say when I grew up, because you're 20 and I'm going, she thinks she grown? She grew up? I mean, what happened? But you
So sorry.
do so many, no, don't apologize. You have made mature decisions. You do mature things. So yes, you are grown up. Your age means nothing, which is reason why you were honored among women who were in their 70s for She Leads Florida, because your faith, absolutely, you do it by faith. So,
Yes, thank you.
so what kind of work you do?
Like with the podcast or
Or just overall in general?
Oh, I don't know.
You don't know?
like what kind of work I do? Like what specifically,
Yeah,
baby?
what do you like to do?
Oh, like for fun?
For fun. What do you like
Oh.
to do for fun? And tell me about, yeah.
I like
You have any
love-
hobbies?
I feel like I do. My dad and I were just talking about like what constitutes as a hobby.
Oh, that's a good one.
yeah.
I haven't figured that one out
Yeah,
yet.
'cause
So if
he-
you guys know what that
Yeah.
is, please let me know.
Yeah, well, he was saying that like he considers hobbies more as like a proactive, like active thing that you're doing. Like I love to watch movies, but that's more of a passive action. It's not
Gotcha.
something you have to physically like. I mean, you could go to a theater, but then you're sitting for 3 hours, right? So that's just a little bit different. But I love to bake. I'm a really
Okay.
big fan of baking and cooking. I always try to. I go to a Bible study on Tuesday nights in Ormond Beach, and I always try to bring something if possible, like maybe cookies. I brought
Really?
bread. I brought bread once. They had a sign up sheet of like what you can bring, and there was like Hawaiian rolls on it. So I was like, I'll just make my own, and I brought
You brought homemade bread.
yeah.
Well,
It
you
was-
are young and amazing. I mean, who bakes bread? They had Hawaiian rolls. I'll just
Yeah.
figured I'd bake some bread. Okay.
Yeah, no, it was pretty easy. It was more because bread, especially that recipe, was more of like a resting recipe. So you just mix all the ingredients together, and then you just like rest. You just leave it alone, and then you just put it.
So
into
you like to
sections.
cook? I mean,
yeah,
and
I
bake
like,
rather.
Yeah, I like. Oh yeah, I like all of it. Honestly.
That is impressive.
Yeah. It's
So
really fun.
130 shows with your podcast, and how often do you have your podcast?
I would say maybe like when I probably like 2 or 3 episodes a day.
Really?
Yeah.
That's a lot.
Yeah. Yeah, but it's really fun. I usually block off like I usually try to do them as back to back as possible so I don't have to I'm a very like block person. So I like to categorize my brain into certain ways. So I like to do most of my podcasts in kind of the morning and then kind of get it out by like 12. Just because that's easier. And they're only 15 minutes if anyone hasn't seen them yet. They're only 15 minutes.
And how do we find your podcast?
All
What's
my
the-
podcasts are on YouTube, and it's just under my name, Macy Baxi, B as in boy, AXI. That's pretty easy. There's not too many out there, thankfully, so it makes my Google search life really easy.
So, what are your long-term goals? I mean, because already at such a young age, you are influencing your community. You are, why I love Flagler County. Have this podcast. You're talking to people. Your faith is very evident. So you are pulling and drawing people to Jesus Christ at such a young age.
Thank you.
So, what are your long-term goals? What do you see yourself in?
I don't know.
You don't know?
I,
Do you have a goal, a
I,
career in mind?
I definitely want to continue down this podcast, and I want to expand it from Flagler County to a lot more counties in Florida. And I still have a lot of contacts back in Michigan, so doing something like that with Michigan as well. And just getting in front of people. I'm a talker. I love to talk to people.
Mm-hmm.
So I think the podcast is a really great way for me to do it because a lot of the podcast for me isn't even talking, right? A lot of it is listening, like you're doing, and I'm sure you know like completely how that works. But there's also a lot of talking and a lot of interaction involved, right? Because otherwise interviews are just stale. Then it's like, Pastor Jay, how long have you been in Flagler? Okay, tell me about your story. Okay, next. But it's like, I love having conversations and talking to people. So I think right now my dad and I were just planning ideas of how we want to start expanding the podcast into different counties and how does that look. And so that's at least the immediate goal right now. I feel like I had a lot of long-term goals when I was younger, but then I realized that I actually didn't like that path. And I was like, I don't think that's going to work. So now I'm learning to pivot and learn how to be more open to improvisation. Because I feel like as a kid, when I was younger, I was like, oh, everything's going to have to go this way. And now I'm like, no, life does not go that way.
Life doesn't go that way, right?
Yeah.
So let's talk about life, because when I look at your age bracket, I don't see a lot of young adults, I'll say that,
Sure.
doing what you're doing. They're
Right.
not interested in what's going on in their community. They're
Sure.
not involved in what's going on in community. What makes you so different? How did you get to where you are today? And let's talk about peer pressure, right?
Oh.
So apparently you must keep those in your life. They have to have common interests. They must love Jesus Christ. I'm sure that's probably a prerequisite,
Yeah.
right? But do you have like the peer pressure of when you're going to go out and you have a boyfriend? You got anybody just trying to take you away from your dad yet?
No.
No?
I don't really. I think we live in a really great community, and I think I haven't found anything like that really, honestly.
You're not. It doesn't sound like you're looking for anything like that either. Or
Like
maybe.
a relationship,
Uh-huh.
or I mean, should I say a lot of this on the air for like archival purposes and like look
your
back
dad
at it?
may not be. This.
No, he doesn't mind.
He
but-
doesn't mind.
No.
Okay,
he's
now you
okay
got to
with it
remember
now.
Mark over there. He's starting to grin because Mark's the engineer. Because how many years? It took me some years. I got him married. It took me a while. And I did it on the radio. I kept appealing to everyone that he was single and that he was such a good catch. So, but you're still young.
Yeah,
You have some time.
yeah, definitely.
But still, you can get some free meals out of it.
No, this is true. No, this is very true.
See, yeah.
This is, you got to understand, your worth and what you're looking
That's
for,
right.
and that's okay. Definitely, I feel like when you want a relationship and it's not on God's timing, it's not evident. And when the timing isn't right and you keep trying to push it, it backfires so bad on you. And me and my family as a whole, we're all learning to continue like every single day of like constantly listening, like, okay, what is God telling me to do right now, right? What is the path that I'm feeling pushed towards? And if I guess for some reason like a relationship was that, I'm sure it'll come. It's not one of those things where I'm not gonna be like never talking to people, I guess, but it's not something that it's like, if I don't get it next month, I'm dying.
Oh, okay. That's pretty good. You got it. Oh, my goodness. So are you concerned about your community? Are you concerned about global warming, politics? I mean, our school system,
Sure.
and all the stuff that you see
Yeah.
adults kind of just,
Yeah.
well, you are an adult.
I am an adult.
I do apologize. I'm sort of talking to you like, I have children your age, right?
Yeah. You're good.
Okay,
You're good.
I'm good?
Yeah,
Okay, I
you're
have
good.
children older than you. But do you have concerns? Do you vote?
I mean, I'm registered to vote, yes. I only voted like once or twice because those have been the local elections.
Okay. So you are concerned. about what's going on in your community? And,
My dad, as you know, is very politically active and has been pretty much my whole life. And he was always, telling me what's been keeping up with the times
okay.
and stuff.
So
And
you're informed.
very much so. Very much so.
And you vote when you need to vote.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
definitely, for sure.
Okay. All right. Well, we got to take a break. Don't go anywhere, guys. Don't touch that dial. You're listening to Today with Pastor Jay. Okay. All right. You ready? How much time I have first before I forget?
3 minutes.
Okay. We got 3 minutes. So that's going to go pretty quick.
Definitely.
Mm-hmm. I want to give a thank you and a shout out to my sponsors, Steve Verrier, TheFloridaMortgageCenter.com, and Church on the Rock. Thank you so very much for keeping me on the air. You have been a blessing to me and a blessing to the community. So what kind of advice do you have for, I'm not old,
Sure.
I'm young
Yeah.
still. I'm young,
Of course.
but I'm sure you've got some good advice, right?
Good advice for
Anything. Well, I mean, just in life or in general, what comes to mind if you were to get Pastor Jay, let me give you some good advice. All right, let's talk about finances.
Okay.
I know your dad is all about saving money, investing money, and all of that. Do you have any thoughts, ideas, or advice?
Yeah, actually, it's so great that you brought this up. My mom is a financial advisor.
Your mom's a financial advisor.
I actually don't think we can technically say that. I don't think that's technically her title. But
Okay.
she
She
helps,
good with money.
she helps people a lot with understanding where their finances are, where they want to be, and how to get there. So right now she's actually starting up a program here in Flagler called Debt Free Flagler.
Oh, I like
so
that.
she's going to do just free classes for people, just so they can kind of understand, just the basics of how to get them out of debt as soon as possible, right? Because we think it's just as easy as just paying it off and the minimums every month, and that's how it is. But there are different ways that you can save time and interest, and it's and you have a plan too,
Right.
and that makes it so much easier on yourself. It's like, okay, I know what I'm going towards.
Are
I
you
know
good
what
at
my
that?
goal
I
is.
mean, you go to the store and you see something you want, and you're like, I think I'm gonna get that anyway.
I would say so.
Yeah.
I've been working since I was 11.
Oh wow, you've been working since you.
I worked at a restaurant from 11 to 16. My family owned a Chinese restaurant, like I
That's
mentioned.
right.
So I've been working for a lot of money for a while. I don't have. I'm still young, and I'm fully admitting I'm not like the best financial
That's
saver in
okay.
the world.
You're
I
like
make
the rest
plenty
of us, but
mistakes.
you probably do better than most of us, though.
I don't know.
You don't know about that? But we gotta hold up. Wait a minute. You didn't tell me about the Chinese food restaurant till now. So do y'all cook Chinese food?
I do.
You do?
Yeah.
Oh man, I'm just so inviting myself to your house right now.
Of course. Come on over.
Oh,
We'd
my
love to have you. Are you
goodness.
kidding me?
Oh man, this is good. This is good news. The whole show just changed right now. You should have told me this at the beginning. We could be talking about all kinds of my favorite food and recipes,
Yeah,
right?
my mom's making a soup right now. So we're from South. My mom's family's from South China. Canton is like the area where it's called. So like a little bit next to Hong Kong is that, if that's how you can think of it. So there's this rice soup, and it's like cooked down for like hours, and it's called congee
Is
or
it good?
juk in Cantonese. Not that I speak Cantonese, but she's making that right now. I'm really excited. It'll be good.
It's
It'll
gonna be
fun.
good.
Yeah.
And you have a brother.
I do have a younger brother. He just ran last night at his high school track meet.
Nice.
So he does the 3200 and the 1600. I'm always really proud of him. He runs crazy
Is he
fast.
proud of you?
I hope so. I don't know. He's not really. He came to the She Leads event, and he had to work that day actually.
I remember.
But,
I was surprised that he came. I didn't think
just-
he was gonna make it.
No one was taking his shift, and he just didn't go.
He just didn't go.
He
He come to see his sister. That was pretty cool. So I'd say you guys are close and tight knit.
Definitely.
Okay. Well, I just want to thank you so much for
Thank you
coming.
so much for
Again, it's Macy Baxi. You can find her on YouTube. And right now she's doing a theme, Why I Love Flagler, right?
Yeah, why I love Flagler County. And also, me and my dad host free lunch and learns every month on the fourth Friday. So we have our next one.
Lunch
April
and learn.
26th.
What are we learning? What are we learning?
Last month, they learned how to sell using stories. And then this month we're doing how to close sales without being salesy.
Ooh.
So we have Dr. Lisa McGarry from True Access Direct Primary Care. She built a business to a million in Gainesville and then sold it, and now she's building up another one here in Palm Coast. And then we also have Lana Fink, who is a guest speaker from, it's like West Palm Beach area down
Okay.
there, and she's going to help people kind of craft their story and craft their message for pressure-free selling for anyone who's in sales or anything like that.
Well, I just want to thank you so much for being a light in our community. And for
Thank you. You are the light in our community.
I just
like,
want
I
to
try to be
thank
as
you.
good as you.
Oh, yeah.
That's
Well,
what I'm trying.
speaking of that, since you have the podcast, I'm just offering it to you right now. You can come and co-host my show. How about that? You come co-host my show anytime you want. Anytime you want, you come
I'm
and co-host.
down.
You
That'll
down?
be fun.
Well, next week I am interviewing my niece, who's a
Oh.
book author.
Oh wow.
I know, and it's going to be her first radio interview. I'm very excited
That'll
about
be
her.
fun.
Yeah, very, and she has her own publishing company. So we're gonna
Wow.
yes, and she's
Okay.
young too. So that's gonna be kind of cool. Younger than me anyway. All right, guys. You know what I say? Thank you again, Macy.
Thank you.
Yesterday is gone. Tomorrow's not promised. What are you going to do today? Today, you're going to go to YouTube and you're going to follow Macy Baxi, and then you're going to hear all these stories about why so many of us love Flagler County. God bless you and have a wonderful and beautiful day.
Bye. Thank you.
We are grateful for it. And of course, boom.